And welcome back. A group in the royal family of Bakgatla, Kgafela, are expected to inaugurate their preferred leader of this mineral-rich community today. Tshomankane royal families say they have a claim to the chieftaincy of Bakgatla, Kgafela in South Africa. This is despite the fact that there is a sitting chief, Pilane Motshwegwe, who was has been acting in that position at the behest of Kgosi Kgafela. Though the Tshomankane family continues with the ceremony, government says it has not issued a recognition certificate for Kgosi Pilane Motshwegwe. For more on this, we bring in our reporter, Lihihi. Tell us where you are and how is this all unfolding?
Good morning to you and our viewers. We're currently here in Lisetleng, one of the 32 villages that make up the mineral-rich Bakgatla Kgafela traditional community. You must understand that even though 2 commissions were set up here to actually deal with the mismanagement or alleged mismanagement of their mineral riches, the funds that they've accrued from there, and to ensure that there's a proper administration of traditional affairs, these commissions have really done not much to stabilize the situation. We found with the previous commission that the decision was taken there to acknowledge the Kgosi, whose reign runs between South Africa and Mochudi in Botswana, to be the one with the traditional council to use their powers to select who they believe should be the regent leading the communities in South Africa. But despite Moruleng having received, a recognition certificate from the provincial government and having received recognition from the Kgosi, it seems that some members of the traditional community are not satisfied with that. They've called to question the relevance of Kgosi Kgafela, seeing as that he's a citizen of Botswana and in fact is in South Africa having fled some prosecution in Botswana. So they say that it is really unwarranted for them to actually listen to the leadership that is not really are recognized as such here in South Africa. They want to be self-determining, so to speak, and they are choosing today to actually instill a new chief. But despite not having a recognition certificate, they seem more than ready to actually instill this new chief. But let's get a better understanding as to how we got to this conundrum. I'm joined by one of the leaders here of the Bakgatla. Ntate, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
it's quite an active day. We've seen there at the Traditional Council. We can't go there because of network issues. But how did we get here? Because there's currently an acting chief.
The answer to you is that we don't really have an acting chief at the moment. Mr. Moruleng is a citizen of Botswana, and the Northwest Traditional Act does not allow a foreigner to be a chief in the Republic of South Africa. That is what is the case so far.
This issue, as we were saying to you earlier on, that there has been no recognition certificate for Kgosi Pilane Motshwegwe.
Indeed, so in the absence of a recognition certificate from the provincial government, we're seeing some members of the Bakgatla royal family, go ahead with their plan to inaugurate a new chief. As you said, this is despite the fact that there's currently an acting chief who's got the recognition certificate from the provincial government. He was placed in that position through a consultation between the paramount chief Kgafela together with the traditional council. Kgafela's role in selecting the regions that run the affairs of the traditional community in the 32 villages of the Bakgatla in South Africa was also given the green light by findings of the commissions that existed to resolve the issues around traditional leadership. The commission resolved there that it is indeed the prerogative of the Kgosi Kgafela, together with the traditional council, to select who will be the regent here. You must understand that the dynamics of this traditional community are actually trans-border, because it exists not only in the 32 villages here in South Africa, but also constitutes of Mochudi in Botswana. Kgafela, as the paramount chief, is a Botswana citizen, but has fled allegedly due to some impending prosecution. And his residency here in South Africa has brought many questions. with those who are actually under his traditional leadership split across the line between those who believe that he's got a right to lead them and those who say that they cannot allow themselves to have their sovereignty totally shaken and they cannot be led by someone who's not a South African citizen. But to have a better understanding, let us get insight from one of the members of the traditional community that is participating in this inauguration today. And Tate, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
And your patience indeed. How did we get here? There's currently an acting chief, but you as a family are not convinced.
The answer to that is that in 2013, 2014 and 2015, there was one Mr. Rampo David Mpule Peto and Mr. Moruleng under the leadership of Kgosi Kgafela then approached Tshomankane royal family about selecting a region once after Mr. Nyalala was removed from office. And that indeed it did happen. The agreement was that once Mr. Nyalala John Molefe Pilane is removed as a regent Kgosi in our lands of Bakgatla in the Republic of South Africa, what we know is that Mr. Mpule David Mpule Peto was to take over as a regent on behalf of Tshomankane family. This must be explained clearly. What really shocked us on the 6th of July 2020, after Mr. Nyalala Pilane was removed as chief, we expected Mr. Mpule David Rampo Peto to become the regent Kgosi. Strange enough, and to our surprise, like I'm speaking to you now on TV, we saw Mr. Moruleng being given a certificate as an acting chief for only 6 months. Thereafter, we've never been shown a certificate or a letter of an extension as a Kgosi. And I must mention this, Mr. Kgafela used to call himself Kgosi Kholo, but it's there clearly in history books, in newspapers, and even researched for a doctoral thesis by one Christine Porcel of University of Freiburg in Germany. Mr. Kgafela has been derecognized as Kgosi in Botswana. He was derecognized by his own government in year 2011. And as such, he's not a Kgosi. People must understand that.
This is a major conundrum.
Yeah.
You participated or attended the commissions that took place in the Civic Center that sought to unravel the issues around the traditional leadership here. What was your finding when the commission findings said Kgosi Kholo Kgafela has the prerogative together with the council to select the acting chief or the regent?
If you go into the Commission of Inquiry proper, you'll see that even if he was to elect or to choose a regent for Bakgatla here in Moruleng, first he must consult with the royal family, which is Tshomankane royal family. As we speak now, even where we are going to coronate the new Kgosi Tiny Kayakwa Pilane Motshwegwe is Kgotla ya Tshomankane, and next to it is the house of Tshomankane's son called Kgosi Ditlhake.
Do you have recognition certificate for Kgosi to be instilled today from the provincial government?
We don't have a recognition certificate. People must understand the processes. You install first the Kgosi and then you apply for the recognition certificate. And that is a legal advice.
Thank you very much for your time and clarity, Ntate. Word coming from Ntate or Dr. Pilwa Kgosi there. in as much as they don't have a recognition certificate from the provincial government, they're going ahead with the inauguration of the new Kgosi, and they will ensure that they will apply for that recognition certificate. But word coming from them is that there is no relevance of the traditional leadership that is run under Kgafela here in South Africa, and they will become self-determining from this day, having inaugurated the new Kgosi. From ASEAN, Lesetleng, back to you, studio.